Welcome to Frances Reads Her Bible. Today I'm on to Genesis chapter 42. And Genesis chapter 42 is when Joseph's brothers went to the land of Egypt. So Jacob learned there was grain in Egypt. He said to his sons, "Why don't you do something? I hear there is grain in Egypt. Go there and buy some to keep us from starving to death." So Joseph's 10 half brothers went to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's full brother Benjamin with them because he was afraid that something might happen to him. I don't blame him. He sent Joseph to go meet his brothers, and something happened to him. So if he sends Benjamin now that he loves, the only other child from Rachel, what if something happens to Benjamin? You know? And it's very interesting, like I've mentioned before. The land of Canaan was very close to Egypt. They were both in Africa ish. Parts of Canaan was close to Africa. So Canaan had like a boundary somewhere. There was a boundary somewhere between Canaan and Egypt. So it was close. But I remember Abraham went to Egypt from the land of Canaan, and from the land of Egypt he moved back to the land of Canaan. So they were neighbors, like neighboring countries like Nigeria and Ghana. Okay, Ghana is not close. Nigeria and Benin Republic, or Nigeria and Chad. So there was just a border separating both countries. Then he can step from here to there, from there to here. So then the sons of Jacob came with others to buy grain because there was famine in the land of Canaan. Joseph, as governor of the land of Egypt, was selling grain to people from all over the world. So Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the ground. Remember, Joseph left when he was 16, as in they sold him when he was 16. Now he's a man, like a full grown man. He's taller, older. I'm sure now he has beards and all that. So they couldn't recognize him, but he recognized his brothers because they were all grown. They were older than him. So he recognized them, but they didn't recognize him. It's been like 14 years now or more. And he asked them harshly, "Where do you come from?" "We have come from Canaan to buy food," they answered. Although he recognized them, they didn't recognize him. And then he remembered the dreams he had dreamed about them, and he said, "You are spies. You have come to find out where our country is weak." I'm sure this would have been a great moment to say, "Told you!" If they recognize him, "I told you guys you were going to bow down before me." And immediately they came to him, they just bowed down. Remember those dreams he had then when he was young at the age of 16, thereabouts, and they hated him for it. This would have been a perfect "told ya" moment. So, this is what the Psalm 23 calls, "He prepares the table before me in the presence of my enemies." Remember, his brothers sold him because they said to themselves, "Let's see what will become of his dreams." He told them the dreams he had, and they were angry that he was thinking that he was going to be some king or become some king, and they would bow down before him. They, as in, their hatred for him increased. Also, the fact that their father loved him. So they said, "Yes, let's deal with him. Let's kill him and see what will become of his dreams." See Joseph now, and they're bowing before him without even knowing who he is. "We have come as your slaves to buy food. We are all brothers. We have come as your slaves." Can you imagine? We are not spies, sir. We are honest men here, right? Then Joseph said to them, "No, you have come to find out where our country is weak." Someone said that Joseph was being unforgiving here, that he still had unforgiveness. No. I think Joseph was just dragging this thing with the hopes that, this one can't recognize me. Let me see, maybe, let's play along. Let me see, let me give them time. He could have sold it to them and left. If he was so unforgiving, like someone said, or harbored bitterness towards them, he would have killed them immediately. He wouldn't have gone through all this drama. I'm sure he was just waiting for the moment for one person to recognize him, but nobody did. No one did. If he hated them, he would have killed them. Nobody would have blinked. Nothing would have happened. This was a perfect time to have his revenge, but Joseph did not do anything, you know. Then he said, "We were 12 brothers in all, sir, sons of the same man in the land of Canaan. One brother is dead, and the youngest is now with our father." "It is just as I said," Joseph answered. "You are spies. This is how you will be tested. I swear by the name of the king that you will never leave unless your youngest brother comes here. One of you must go and get him. The rest of you will be kept under guard until the truth of what you say can be tested. Otherwise, as sure as the king lives, you are spies." With that, he put them in prison for 3 days. Still, nobody recognized him on the third day. And Joseph said to them, "I'm a God fearing man, and I will spare your lives on one condition. To prove that you are honest, one of you will stay in the prison where you have been kept. The rest of you may go and take back to your starving families the grain that you have bought." Still, nobody recognized him. 3 days had passed. They didn't even sit down to themselves and say, "Oh, then you must bring your youngest brother to me. This will prove that you have been telling the truth, and I will not put you to death." I'm sure Joseph just really wanted to see his brother Benjamin. It's been like 14, 15, 16 years. Many years have passed. I don't know. He was 30 when he became governor. Now he has children, two sons. So it should be like 16, 17, 18 years or more since he saw his brother. Then they agreed to this and said to one another, "Yes, now we are suffering the consequences of what we did to our brother. We saw the great trouble he was in when he begged for help." Ah, can you just imagine how Joseph must have begged them, cried, screamed, but they refused to listen. That is why we are in this trouble now. Then Reuben said, "I told you not to harm the boy, but you wouldn't listen. And now we are being paid back for his death." Joseph understood I'm sure they were speaking Hebrew. Joseph understood what they were saying. But he had been speaking to them trying to interpret it. He didn't want them to know, understand the language. But that thing is always really nice though. Sometimes knowing how to speak a language but pretending like you don't understand it. Some friends of mine, we did that when we were in francophone countries. We speak French, and then we'll pretend like we don't understand what they're saying, but we speak French. Or maybe going down to the east or somewhere where you speak the language, just act like you don't understand what they're saying to know what people will say or to see people's true intentions towards you. Anyway, so he overheard all that, and Joseph left them and he began to cry. I can imagine. When he was able to speak again, he came back, picked out Simeon, and had him tied up in front of them. I wonder why he picked out Simeon. Aisha Simeon was not the number one. The person I was wondering who was the one who wanted to sell, who put up the idea that they should kill Joseph. Because I'm sure if he was there when he got there, he would have known who the person was that was the loudest about him being killed. I wonder if it was Simeon. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe he just picked out someone. It's either Simeon was the one who was the mastermind behind him being killed, the plan and being sold, or no being killed rather, or he was close to Simeon. We don't know. But he sure picked out Simeon and had him tied up in front of them. I can just imagine this whole thing. When you do something bad and you start wondering when bad things start happening to you, was it because of that bad thing I did? That's what's happening to Joseph's brothers right now. Like, is it because of what we did to Joseph? Not is it because it's because of what we did to Joseph. That's what they're saying. So Joseph gave orders to fill his brothers' packs with grain, return each man's money back in his sack, give them food for the trip. When it was done, the brothers loaded their donkeys with the grain they had bought and they left. At the place where they spent the night, one of them opened his sack to feed his donkey and found his money at the top of the sack. "My money has been returned to me," he called to his brothers. "Here it is in my sack." Their hearts sank and in fear they asked one another, "What has God done to us?" I'm sure they were so afraid, like, so these Egyptians, what will now happen to Simeon? They'll think we are thieves. They gave us grain, we didn't pay for it, stuff like that. So when they came to their father Jacob in Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them. The governor of Egypt spoke harshly to us, and accused us of spying against his country. Then they shall Nigerian pigeon. They now narrated or gave him feedback about what transpired, word for word, gave him the blow by blow information of what happened. So during 35, they emptied out their sacks. Every one of them found his bag of money. And when they saw the money, they and their father Jacob were afraid. Their father said to them, "Do you want to make me lose all my children? Joseph is gone. Simeon is gone. And now you want to take away Benjamin? I am the one who suffers." Then Reuben said to his father, "If I do not bring Benjamin back to you, you can kill my two sons. Put him in my care, and I will bring him back." But Jacob said, "My son cannot go with you. His brother is dead, and he is the only one left. Something may happen to him on the way. I am an old man, and the sorrow it would cause me would kill me." Well, I understand Jacob's fears. Rachel was the love of Jacob's life, and now Rachel is dead. Her first son, she only gave him two sons, two children. Her first son, Joseph, is dead, as they all presume. They all think he's dead. And now the only child of Rachel he has left is Benjamin. And he's transferred all that love to Benjamin. If Benjamin dies, Jacob is going to die. Like, that's a given. He can't part away with Benjamin. It's hard. It's so hard. Like, he's so worried. His mom is gone. His brother is gone. He's the only one left. If he goes and he dies, what do I do? That kind of thing. So yeah, understandable. So this is where this chapter ends, and I'm sure they were so afraid to go back because they found that money, the money they were supposed to pay for those grains. They received the grains, and now they are with it. Even though Simeon is there, and probably in their mind, Simeon is gone forever. So this episode is one of my favorite in this Genesis. Like, that's I told you moments of when his brother just came and bowed before him without them even knowing. This was exactly that dream he had. Exactly the dream. Ah. They thought by killing him or getting rid of him, making him a slave, he would never become the king, the person that God said he was going to become, that they were going to bow down to. But voila, they came straight to meet the governor of Egypt and they bowed without even thinking twice. Nobody even recognized who he was for 3 days. Nobody recognized it was Joseph. You know, God used their evil plans, to take him to the place he needed to be. That setback was his comeback. That place of that prison led him to the palace. Their plans didn't work. God used the evil they plotted towards Joseph to take him to the place of destiny that Joseph needed to be. Oh, Francis, this is speaking to me on so many levels. I've got chills just thinking about it. So, no matter the plans of the enemy, God will prepare a table before me, as in the presence of my enemies. That's just it. It's so amazing. And it's really nice that Joseph didn't harbor any hatred towards his brothers. He had the power to kill them, maim them, do so much worse. He didn't, because like I said, he's a man who fears God and knows God. If it was some brother of theirs who didn't even know God, they would all be dead. He would have killed 10 of them. After all, his full brother Benjamin wasn't there, you know. But he didn't do any of that. So forgiveness is another thing I've learned from this chapter. As always, my name is Frances Okeke, and this is Frances Reads the Bible. God bless you and goodbye.